end times are upon us, and we need to know what's happening. Knowing the truth is key to survival. There are lots of news events going on in the world that have certain significance to end time happenings. Listen, as men and women gather to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy on the last 7 days. Uploaded as a podcast Wednesdays and run live every third Friday at 12 o'clock noon Central on GJRB. Imagine one day tuning around on your internet radio only to find a station playing old radio programs complete with commercials and thinking, what am I tuning into? The past? You might be, or it's just GJRB Online and Radio Land. A day of nothing but classic radio shows, back-to-back with classic commercials in between. Like the days of radio. Almost like your computer is picking up signals through time. Closer than you'll ever get to time travel. Radio Land.
We all run a busy schedule, and maybe we don't have time to catch the Gary Russen program. Well, here's the solution. The best of the Gary Russen program, highlighting the most memorable parts of recent shows. Each podcast I will play clips of previous shows and talk about them. Watch for podcast uploads during the GJRB's podcast weekend on GJRB's public site on Spreaker. Reflecting on the past memories of past shows. The best of the Gary Russen program on GJRB.
Suicide's increasing among the youth, and many of them playing suicide games. This has to stop. Parents, watch your kids, and if you feel there's something going on and they are considering suicide, please talk to them, help them. And if it seems hopeless, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. That number is 1-800-273-8255. They can help. It's free and confidential. Your call will be answered by a trained counselor in a local crisis center. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline can help.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I was sensitive to lights and sounds, so I built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. Sometimes I did the same things over and over, until one day I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The weird, the strange, the bizarre. Way out front, way out there. Another show coming soon on GJRB Online.
Joy. Great song. Yeah, Apollo 11 and Joy from 1972 as we get back into the Gary Russen program, Saturday Extra, on the so-called last day of the world, September 23rd, 2017. I'm Gary J. Russen. Good afternoon, and I hope you enjoyed the program. We're talking about the end-time prophecy bit, the so-called end-of-the-world stuff, and what they're saying is happening today. And so we kind of got into a conversation because I think that this is just plain downright hilarious, because people are just making media hype out of this thing. That this end of the world stuff, that's happening here. And in this next hour, we're going to talk a little bit about this. It's our Saturday edition, so a lot of times we just, Saturdays I don't do news on Saturdays. I might do a little bit of a brief news at the top of the hour if there's anything going on, but I usually kind of don't really do too much on news on Saturdays. I kind of leave it up to you this is a news program, actually. Okay, so in this case like that, I've said this before, and basically I'll say it again. This is a news program, which means that a newscast I don't do on their basis. During the week I might do the news at the top and bottom of the hour during the week, but I don't do it on a weekend program. This is a weekend program, so I kind of have a news in brief, maybe about a couple minutes, and then we go back into the program. Because, like I said before, if there's anything going on, I usually cover it. It's newsworthy. I will do that, but it's basically just a short 2 minutes worth of news, and then we're back into the program. And we're coming up next hour. I'm going to talk more about this anti-prophecy stuff, including more stuff on the doomsday stuff as people are predicting, and I'm going to talk about the 8-day prediction. The eight doomsday predictions that failed over the past, like 8 of them. There's at least 8 of them already that are just have failed for one or no reason. It just went and failed, and we're going to talk about them today. And I had that one story about researchers will say it's today's the end of the world bit. So I kind of crossed that one out because that's the same story about Meade. And I just kind of stated that Meade backed down last night. And then next hour I'm going to play a way out there show from back in January 20th, in which I had a segment which I played the clip of Coast to Coast AM when George Norrie had on his guest from a January 10th show, in which he interviewed Marshall Masters. And he is one that says that this Planet X is real, and that it is headed toward Earth, and it's going to collide with Earth, and oh my. And we're going to play a little piece of that. He says that it's going to be visible in the naked eye in November. They say it's going to pass Earth today. This is where it kills me because they're all conflicting with each other. Okay, there's no information that agrees with another one. Okay, so this is what makes it laughable, because you got one guy saying one thing, got one guy saying another thing, got one guy saying this, one guy saying that. And who do you believe in this case? Okay, this is what I'm saying. This is why it's so ridiculously funny, because it's just typically ridiculous and funny. It's all that, because no one knows the day or the hour, and these scientists don't know what they're talking about. Okay, they're just based on a number, 33, which I'm going to ask my pastor about that tomorrow, because I think this is just bizarre. This is just getting really weird. And it's like, quit date setting. You got one guy who backed out last night, and then he turned around, and then he says, well, it's going to happen in October. We're going to have disasters now. It's going to mark the beginning of a lot of massive disasters. Okay, got a hurricane just pulled out of Puerto Rico, hit, what was that? I can't remember where that was. That pulled out. It could fizzle. That is Maria. Maria is supposed to make a turn and go up the coast, but I don't know. I don't know. She's weakened. I know she was a Category 4 when it hit Puerto Rico, but I'm not sure if that storm is going to do anything out. Now, I haven't seen any more new storms cropping up, or any, at this point. But we're looking at another. We're looking at the earthquake, the massive earthquake in Mexico City. I remember the last massive earthquake in Mexico City. I was staying with my aunt and uncle in California, and that hit. And I remember that, and I was saying, it's a wonder, because I was in California. It can't be that far from Mexico. Mexico City, San Diego, Mexico, whatever. I thought we'd feel that. We didn't feel it. And now Mexico City is hit with a 7.1, which that is a massive quake. And, wow. maybe he's right in the disasters, but that's about as far as it goes. Let's do weather on the 5s right now because we missed the last half hour, and we're seeing the vicious storms here. A dichotomy of storms, air masses, which are going to be existing over the nation over this weekend. And it's over the Intermountains West, large upper level ridge, which is going to hit the eastern U.S. This is going to be normal it's going to give you normal temperatures and some snow in the higher elevations in the Rockies. Summer-like conditions right now going on. We have temperatures today in the 90s. Okay? Wow. Locations could even achieve high record temperatures readings higher than that with heat indexes 10 to 20 degrees above normal. And once all this air mass is going to go into a frontal boundary, which exists over the central Rockies and the upper Midwest, and a slow eastward progression over the next couple of days. And these are going to be some strong to severe thunderstorms that are expected to develop along and across the high plains and also over parts of the upper Midwest today. Severe thunderstorms. Ooh. It could be part of that Anyway, in addition, these storms could be capable of producing some episodes of heavy rain, which could cause flash flooding across the eastern U.S. And the post-tropical Jose, could be remnants of Jose. Jose kind of fizzled out. Jose's like fizzled. It'll diminish over the western, and it's going to weaken. In addition, there'll be some slow. They're looking at Maria now and see whether or not what kind of weather she's going to give us in the future weeks. So we're going to keep an eye on that one too, because it looks like Maria could very well be giving us that tropical storm. It's going to cause some rain and storms. As weather on the 5s will give you some temperatures a little later on. Weather on the 5s at 25 and, whatever.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face. And posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
America's Street Music is back on GJRB Bluegrass with the Grassgulls, Bill Monroe and his Bluegrass Boys, and so much more. So it's time to bring it back, and on more often. It's Bluegrass Jubilee Freestyle, with all the great songs you heard before, and some new up-and-coming stars with some emerging bluegrass. Also, some all-time gospel favorites too. At a brand new time, every third Saturday at 12 noon Central on GJRB. We all run a busy schedule, and maybe we don't have time to catch the Gary Russen program. Well, here's the solution. The best of the Gary Russen program, highlighting the most memorable parts of recent shows. Each podcast I will play clips of previous shows and talk about them. Watch for podcast uploads during the GJRB's podcast weekend on GJRB's public site on Spreaker, reflecting on the past memories of past shows. The best of the Gary Russen program on GJRB.
Suicide's increasing among the youth, and many of them playing suicide games. This has to stop. Parents, watch your kids, and if you feel there's something going on and they are considering suicide, please talk to them, help them. And if it seems hopeless, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. That number is 1-800-273-8255. They can help. It's free and confidential. Your call will be answered by a trained counselor in a local crisis center. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline can help. And you're listening to the Gary Russen program on GJRB online in Clinton, Iowa. We had the tone there, and it is now 1 o'clock Central Time, 2 o'clock in the East, It is 11 a.m. Pacific, and I'm Gary J. Russen, and this is the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online. And let's take a look at what is going on in the news this afternoon. From the GJRB News Desk, I'm Gary J. Russen with this GJRB News Brief. And Kim Jong-un again tops the news. In a rare direct response, Kim Jong-un himself to President Trump's United Nations speech, he said a reclusive leader vowed to make corresponding highest level hardline countermeasures. In a speech made by the U.S. President, he has made an address to the UN arena in the prevailing serious circumstances, which in the situation of the Korean Peninsula, this is what Kim is saying here. Korean Peninsula has been rendering tense and as ever before, and is itching closer to a touch-and-go state. Now, what happened is they had decided they're going to build some kind of a open-air hydrogen bomb test. Yeah, a hydrogen test. Let's hope this test fails. Korean media has picked up on this extremely rare public address across to speculate that what Kim might have meant was a short time later his foreign minister clarified his actions, stating that you're going to make an open-air test. I'll keep an eye on this story for you, and we'll continue on with some news. In other news this afternoon, let's take a look. Quickly, Facebook's going to shut down their critical feature. They said free speech in America. This is alarming. Facebook, I don't know what they're just bowing down to at this point, but they are saying that they're going to take any critical. They don't like any of the right-wing information coming into Germany. Facebook users in Germany are complaining about this. Facebook says that they should be impossible because they only supported by recommendations based on their friends. Facebook said in a statement that the complaints from Germany were related to website Groups Discover, featuring Facebook turned off that news and politics in the Discover tab pending more investigation. Because according to a USA Today report, some suspected that trollish Facebook behavior has been coming from Russian captives, but not far, quote, not far have not been a track down by specific Russian activity. So where's this coming from? Anyway, the activity appears to come from within Germany, and the closing of the feature will only affect Germany's Facebook users at present. But they're saying lawmakers approved this law that could fine the media platforms $57 million if it didn't remove obviously illegal content from user pages. So now they're trying to control our speech, even here in America, it looks like. Wonder what's going to happen to this show. Because believe me, I do a lot of it. I'm going to keep an eye on this story and see what kind of develops. I haven't done research on it to see what other media is saying. And of course, media is not going to say too much about this. We'll talk about that later on as well. So that's kind of a brief look at the news today. I'm Gary J. Russen. This has been a News in Brief. Gary Russen, GJRB News.
The best of jazz, up-and-coming jazz, smooth jazz, and smooth afternoon.
If you can't get enough of jazz and you live in the Quad Cities area, tune in to KALA, St. Ambrose University in Davenport, Iowa, at 88.5 on the FM dial. Along with some of that great smooth jazz, you'll hear a lot of great jazz programming.
And programming in other great music formats.
Like blues, urban, including rap. Also classic R&B and Motown with David Baker on Rewind, Friday nights at 6 p.m. Central. In addition, You get programming in Spanish and some great gospel programming too. For more information on that great programming you'll hear, check out their schedule at www.sau.edu/KALA. Even if you don't live in the Quad Cities area, you can enjoy KALA anywhere in the world with their internet stream. Connect with KALA. Listen and enjoy.
America's Street Music is back on GJRB Bluegrass with the Grasskulls, Bill Monroe and his Bluegrass Boys, and so much more. So it's time to bring it back, and on more often. It's Bluegrass Jubilee Freestyle with all the great songs you heard before and some new up-and-coming stars with some emerging bluegrass. Also, some all-time gospel favorites too. At a brand new time, every third Saturday at 12 noon Central on GJRB.
Yeah, green onion. Like that. Look at that. Booker T, the NGs. Hey, speaking of which, we got oldies coming back next month. We'll give you all the details on some of our programming schedule this hour as we wrap up. The Gary Russen programs. I always have to refer to my log for the name of the show. Okay, extra Saturday. I don't know why I had to do that, but I had to do it because sometimes I forget what show I'm doing. Sometimes I have to write it in front of me or just like say another show by mistake. Done that. It's going, man, maybe my brain's going or something. That Alzheimer's thing is real, Anyway, welcome back to the Gary Russen program, Saturday Extra Saturday. I'm going to change it back around. I'll keep saying that. Saturday Extra. So I might just flip it over and say Saturday Extra next time. Because this is going to be a show we're going to do more often. I like this idea on Saturday. I'm kind of doing a 2-hour short version of the Gary Russen program. Because like I said before, we're not on all that often with this program. And a lot of times I like to have this show on more often. But with a lot of the other shows I have on this station, I tend to see this show kind of fun. And this is the original show. This is one of the first original programs in here on GJRB. Is the Gary Russen program. And basically, I like to have this show on more often because this is the primary program. I just believe in keeping this program on the air more than any of the other shows I have on this station, because this is news. This is all stories about the news, what goes on in the news, and I like to keep it a news program. And that's why I changed the format based on, of course, my hero, and the one guy who really does a good job in the afternoon. Even though I don't always agree with his politics, he's still good, Ned Shepard Smith. And I kind of got a lot of the idea of that format from him at Fox News, because it is a great format. And, it's news breaking as it happens. And I can cover, a lot more stories that way if I just do the news in kind of a freestyle conversational form. And that's what this program's about when I do this. It's freestyle conversational form. Here's an interesting story, too. I was coming across this when I was doing my research for this program, when I was doing my prep. Imagine watching television one day. Okay, imagine watching television one day, and you're watching whatever show you like to watch. When all of a sudden, you get a break-in on regular programming, and especially with this day upon us, scared a lot of people. This happened in California, and the West Coast. Rachel Ozzy Jarvis, if you're listening, and I don't know. I gotta check my listeners and see if anybody's up listening to this program right now. I'm gonna go to my station's page here real quick, because I want to see if there's anybody listening out there who might be. Might check this out. Anyway, I wanted to do it because this is an interesting story. This comes out of Orange County, California. Their residents were hearing this over their television sets yesterday, and it interrupted their TV programs. Listen to this. This is bizarre. I mean, this is totally like bizarre. Check this out. This is weird. Okay. Okay, I'll play it again. This is weird. This is coming over their television, folks. People watching TV in the West Coast got interrupted with this. Oh, come on. I didn't want that one. Go back. Okay, let's see if I can get it back. Okay, I'm going to have to go back to the same story that was on here. That's the same story anyway. Nobody listening on my site already. Nobody listening. Let's check my other previous parts and see if I even got any listeners at all. No, I didn't. Nope, we're 0 all the way through. This is the second part. I'm still not getting any listeners. Talk about this one coming up too. We have a story just come up too. We're going to talk about this real quick, but I want to get into this story because imagine you're watching TV. And you're sitting there watching whatever, a certain time of the day, right? Let's say you're watching, let's see. For me, it would be like maybe American Pickers. Okay, let's say I'm watching Mike and Frank, right? Okay, I'm watching Mike and Frank, and it's in the afternoon. I might be working on my show prep. When all of a sudden, your TV goes into this emergency alert and breaks into this. Listen to this. Okay, and the thing about it is, I don't even understand what the heck this guy's saying, okay? I just don't understand what the heck he's saying. It's like really bizarre, and this is what was going on television, right? And people were getting startled. Some Orange County residents were stunned when their television program was suddenly interrupted by about a minute with an ominous message predicting the end of the world. Stacy LaFlame is of Lake Forest said that she was watching HGTV on Cox cable at around 11:05 a.m. their time, Pacific time, when suddenly an emergency alert flashed across her screen with a voice that says, "Realize this extremely violent times will come," as the voice boomed across the video alert. LaFlame said she was alarmed. It almost sounded like Hitler talking. It sounded like a radio broadcast coming through the television. In addition to Cox Spectrum, cable customers in Orange County received this alert. Aaron Mireles, who's a diamond bar watching Bravo on their Spectrum cable system, said that she was interrupted by this alert and came definitely startled. Quote, "I was definitely startled, and I wasn't alarmed at the sense of thinking that something was wrong, because I assumed that it was some sort of a hack by a channel change back to Bravo just a couple of minutes. This mysterious alert became a hot topic on social media. The problem occurred because one or more radio stations were conducting an emergency alert test. According to Joe Camaro, who is a spokesman for Cox on Thursday, cable system there picked up such alerts. The viewers were not seeing just a typical emergency test. Somebody's tested emergency tone were set out to initiate this test, and after the tone was transmitted, another tone was sent to end the message, and it appears that a radio station or stations did not transmit this end tone to complete the test. And then the broadcast picked up some audio feed that bled into an alert. Camaro stated that Cox technicians shut down the emergency alert as soon as they became aware of the problem. Quote, I don't want to alarm anyone with any false emergency alerts, unquote. Cox and Spectrum are investigating who sent this alert and whether it was done accidentally or on purpose. It's unclear where the audio came from. So you have to wonder, what the heck were they doing? This is that audio. I couldn't even understand it. I know they recorded this off TV when it happened, but I apparently did not understand a word of that alert that was on that video. I couldn't understand anything of it. I mean, it was too garbled. You couldn't understand what it was saying, and so I don't know. I don't know. It was just strange, to say the least. What's going on here, folks? You have to wonder. Hope you're enjoying the program. I'm Gary J. Russen. How you doing, everyone? Welcome to the Gary Russen program. Saturday Extra, and we're doing a program on a day that's supposed to be the end of the world. And I got 8 doomsday predictions that just plain failed. And then coming up, I'm going to play you a piece from way out there from January 20th, in which I play piece of this. Now, there's a piece of this from way out there, January 20th. And I will going to talk about this. I'm going to play a piece which I did not interview. This was from a Coast to Coast show, which Marshall Masters, who claims that this whole thing with Planet X is real. NASA says it isn't. And I mean, I would love to have someone on this program who could tell me the real truth, because I believe the truth is Planet X doesn't exist. I've walked my dog I've looked in the sky a couple of times at sunset. I have not seen this so-called planet. Okay, I've not seen it. Okay, I've looked where they said it's to the left of the sun. You're not supposed to look at the sun. So it says the best to see it at sunset or sunrise. Well, I've looked at sunsets and have not seen it. Okay. They say it's supposed to be visible to the naked eye in November. Okay, November. Okay, I'm going to be walking my dog in November, and I'm going to be looking at the sky. If I don't see this stupid planet, I'm going to tell you people what I think of your stupid Planet X from beginning to end, okay? Because it's all phony, all right? It's just phony, all right? Like I said, the whole thing when you talk about Planet X just sounds like a plot from a motion picture from a 1951 movie called When Worlds Collide. Okay? It's a plot. Okay? I could probably sit there and make a movie about this Planet X, okay? And that's how false it is. You can make a multi-million-dollar disaster flick, and I'm surprised no one's come up with it yet. Really, I can't. I was just like tired of all this rigmarole. Okay, I am. It's coming to a point where it's totally ridiculous. You're going to keep on coming up with this end of the world prophecy because no man knows the day or the hour. Okay, so I am not going to take your predictions literally anymore. I'm done. Seriously, I'm finished. I've plenty. So don't give me no more predictions because I'm not going to believe them unless it is the Christian prediction. Now, it says you're supposed to live every day as your last. So why don't you use these predictions to get close to Christ? Because this is a better way of doing that. I was saying, I was laughing at these predictions and making fun of these predictions, and just having a whole blast with it. But in all actuality, maybe I'm gonna just use this as a prediction, for Christ. Live your day as is your last. Okay, that's what it really means. You have to seriously get close to God, because God only knows, and start turning your life to Him, because these predictions are just saying for the end of the world. What if it did happen today? How ready are you? You could probably find that song as a bumper music today. I didn't think about I wish we'd all been ready, which is a great song. Because in that song the lyrics say, wish we'd all been ready, talking about the rapture, okay? We have to be ready and start, it's time to start witnessing. And what I'm going to do with this program now, with the Gary Russen program, we'll continue to do what we always do with this format, with news and information. But each show I'm going to talk about the Lord, because I'm telling you right now, we need to get close to Christ at this time. All this stuff going on is a message. See, I believe that all these predictions, which are false predictions from all these soothsayers and all these end-time false prophets and all this stuff, is kind of a message to put your forces towards God. Turn your life to Christ now, because see, the end times are near, and it's time to seriously put everything in God's hands. God only knows when He's coming back, not these guys who think they know when God is coming back. He's coming back, but in His time, not anybody else's time, not anybody else's predictions. He's not coming today, but what if He is? Are you ready? Okay? Are you ready? Because are you ready to face the judgment? Because see, this country is going to be going into a horrific judgment. And some of the things that they do, and some of the sins that they've committed. How close are you to Jesus Christ? How close are you? Because it's important that you put your life in His hands. He's the one. Jesus Christ died for us on the cross. We need to sacrifice ourselves to Him and turn our lives to Him. If you're afraid of the end of the world, it's because you're not following Christ. I've kind of talked to my wife about this, and I think it's near the point, because she stated that, I do have a lot of anger and a lot of what's going on in the world. And she told me that, this anger that I'm harboring, is it righteous anger? Because there's such a thing as righteous anger, But there's also anger that is flesh-driven. And, I don't know what I mean by that, right? Anger that's flesh-driven. That's the anger you should not have, okay? That is not the right anger, okay? It's not the right anger. That is not the right kind of anger to have. Flesh-driven anger is not of God. Yes, you're angry because the world is, you got, vandals destroying buildings and stuff like that. You're angry. Yeah, it does anger me too. But really, ladies and gentlemen, if you really think about it, it angers me too. It really kind of ticks me off the way they're destroying buildings and vandalizing for the sake of whatever. I mean, it's not really not necessary to get that mad because you don't get your own way like the young liberals, like the young men and women do in this country, because they're not getting their way here. They're not getting what they want. So they're going to go and destroy buildings to prove their point. It's ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. And we're going to continue talking about this in the last half hour. Also, we'll give you our program schedule and everything coming up next here on GJRB Online. So right now, though, it's time for Weather on the 5. Let's take a look at what's going on nationwide in our weather and across the nation, and let's see what's happening. Let's take a look at some temperatures across America right now. Atlanta, Georgia, it's 83 degrees right now. 52 for Denver, Colorado. 72 in Boston, Massachusetts. 65 in Los Angeles, California right now. See, Coos Bay, Oregon, you are at 52. Chilly, couple of places. Denver, Colorado is 52. Coos Bay is 52. It's cold out west, isn't it? Especially for people who are in that area where all that snow is. And we'll give you one more look at the forecast before we close out today, okay? So that's coming up next. And a whole lot more good stuff on the way here as we continue the rest of the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online. We'll be right back with more in just a moment. Stay tuned.
You hear great jazz on GJRB with the best of jazz, up-and-coming jazz, and smooth afternoon.
If you can't get enough of jazz and you live in the Quad Cities area, tune in to KALA, St. Ambrose University in Davenport, Iowa, at 88.5 on the FM dial. Along with some of that great smooth jazz, you'll hear a lot of great jazz programming.
And programming in other great music formats.
Like blues, urban, including rap. Also classic R&B and Motown with David Baker on Rewind, Friday nights at 6 p.m. Central. In addition, you get programming in Spanish and some great gospel programming too. For more information on that great programming you'll hear, check out their schedule at www.sau.edu/KALA. Even if you don't live in the Quad Cities area, you can enjoy KALA anywhere in the world with their internet stream. Connect with KALA. Listen and enjoy. And some of the stories we're covering for you on the GJRB News Desk, and this is developing at this hour. Roads in Mexico City are beginning to have gassing, and it appears to be breathing. Yeah, the roads in Mexico, extremely dangerous. Larger earthquakes in massive M7.1 magnitude struck South Mexico City earlier the week, and now the roads in those areas are gassing, and it appears to be breathing, and the earth below is being squeezed so hard, emitting gas from, and we'll talk about that. Also, Kim Jong-un says that he's going to test nuclear weapons that are air gas. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more. Plus, more on the last half hour of the Gary Russen program, Saturday Extra. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Whether it's baseball, basketball, hockey, even bowling, it's covered on Gary J's Sports page. I'll talk about what's going on in the world of sports all over the USA. We'll read you interesting articles about the players and even keep up with the scores of the games going on live. I'll even have guests from time to time and just talk sports. Better than any newspaper page, it comes alive. Gary J's Sports page. Join me for Sports page at a brand new time, alternating Saturdays at noon on GJRB.
And of course, we're going to be bringing back Gary J's Sports page here real soon. I'll give you details on that as we go along here. But we will be bringing back Gary J's Sports page. I promise you that. I have said that I was going to, and I pretty much mean it. So
be aware, Sports Page will be back on the air on Saturdays real soon. Of course, like I said, we set it aside for a lot of sports on our 9-foot FM signal, so I decided to put that show aside for a little while, but it will be back. We'll have Sports Page coming back in October here on GJRB Online, so just to be aware of that and let you know that that's what we're going to do. And we'll keep you on top of that and a whole lot more. We'll be right back. I got more of the last half hour of the Gary Russen program coming up on GJRB Online, so stay tuned. A lot more good stuff coming your way here on GJRB.